is what I want for the jingle on my podcast. It's going to be called John Bolton's podcast. No, that impossible. There's no you in Bolton, but I guess that doesn't matter if you're singing it. And I'm a writer. See if you can work that in some way. Basically, just make me sound awesome. Cheers.
Right, welcome back to whatever this is, really. This is day 2, obviously not anymore, now it's day 3. I'm driving again. I have, however, had the foresight to turn the fan off, so hopefully the background noise won't be quite as pronounced as it was yesterday. You might hear rising and falling engine noise as I drive. Can't really do much about that. However, you do join me on quite an exciting venture. So I'm very tired. I've got almost exactly the number of miles I need to do the bit of journey that I'm about to embark upon. However, my car is a liar, and so really there's not really any way of knowing if I actually do have enough petrol or not. So that's exciting. I'll keep you posted. I figure I've got a quarter of an hour to get this done before I get to Hutton, place called Hutton, for those of you that care. Alternatively, I might not have enough petrol and I might have to wait for the recovery vehicle to come out and give me some, in which case I might have really quite a lot more time to do this than I'd anticipated. Anyway, you join us for day 2, October the 2nd, 2023, and the second of what I maintain is going to be 31 horror movie reviews. I did this, I think it was about 5 years ago now. They are on the same channel if you're watching this, so they are listenable. But I think I uploaded them to YouTube about a year after I actually did them, so although it says 4 years ago, actually it's 5. Really worried about this petrol. So last night I ummed and ahed for quite a while about what to watch, and eventually settled upon "There's someone watching me," a little known John Carpenter film. I think it was made for television. It does show, and "There's someone watching me" is about a woman who thinks there's someone watching her. It's as simple as that. She lives in a high-rise in a city. I don't know what city it is. I imagine it's LA. It doesn't look like New York, and I don't know any others, so we'll assume LA. She thinks there's someone watching her. They keep sending her gifts. It's only just occurred to me when I mentioned the fact that he keeps sending her gifts, because he sends her from memory, bearing in mind I was making the thumbnail for the channel while I was watching it last night, time which I think we can all agree was wasted. He sends her a telescope as a first present, which is generous. The second present from memory is an item of clothing. I don't know if it's revealed what it is. I'm assuming a negligee of some sort. It's the 70s, and that's an appropriate thing for a man to buy a stranger in the 70s in films. I don't recall any other gifts after that. I don't know why those dried up. Maybe you got a sense, because also he bugged her apartment, so maybe you just got a sense that she wasn't really, sufficiently appreciative. He just thought, oh, sod this, forget it, mate. I mean, I'll stalk you and eventually kill you, but I'm not going to buy you anything else. That's your attitude. I wonder also now, in the clear light of day, because he's done this before, is implied, I think, in the film. Or maybe it's shown, I can't remember. I wonder if he goes back and gets them. I wonder if the gifts he's sending people are the same ones each time. I don't know. I mean, it's not an important detail, but it's one of those things that you do find yourself thinking about. So she becomes paranoid that there's somebody watching her because it's really obvious that there's someone watching her. And then there's a bit of sort of detective work goes on where they sort of come to this conclusion that the only way anybody could possibly be sneaking into her apartment and posting her stuff is somebody who has access to all the building ins and outs, lifts and whatnot. That seemed like a bit of a reach to me, because up until that point I just thought, oh, this person's probably just picking a lock and getting in. I don't know that he needs to have access to her room to be able to do it. Anyway, so they eventually figure out who he is, and it kind of wrapped itself up quite quickly after that, really. It's a bit of an anticlimax. The strange thing about there's someone watching me is that at the beginning, in the first half hour or so, I would say, probably even less than that, there's a moment where she returns to her flat. We're going to get bogged down in the Americanisms. She returns to her flat in the block of flats in which she lives, and I think she answers the phone, and I think we're given the suggestion as the audience that there's someone in her flat, or there has been someone in her flat, but it's not made clear to us as the audience whether they are still in the flat or not. We assume not, because that is, the usual array of things. And there's a really good bit where she's on the phone, and behind her, in the background, you just see someone sprint out of the room. It made me I had to run it back. Well, I had to, what do you call it, scrubbing? Is that what you do now on, digital video watching? I had to scrub it back to watch it again, because I thought maybe I'd sort of, I don't know what I thought. That was really good, and if I'm honest, that was the high point. At that point I thought, this is going to be really good. It was alright. I had this problem when I did this the last time. Maybe that's the reason why I've never really had the impetus to do it again until now. A lot of films, I find, and maybe it's just me, maybe I have sort of more exacting standards than your average punter. It seems to me like a lot of films are just alright. And I don't know, it doesn't annoy me particularly. It's just all the money and all the effort and all the people involved in making these things. It just seems a shame to me that the end result is a product that is merely, it's fine. It just seems, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm getting old. I am getting old. Maybe I'm getting old and miserable. I am quite miserable. Maybe I'm old, miserable, and just a bit of a dick. There is someone watching me. It was alright. It's not frightening. I don't know that it's especially suspenseful. It's quite, I guess the trouble with a film like that, where there are lots of situations where, like, she has to go down to the basement for some reason, I forget why. Oh, she has to someone wants to meet her down there, and so she goes on her own, like, unarmed and unaccompanied, knowing there's someone watching her, knowing she's been sent stuff by this person, gets sent a note that says, I'm going to be in the basement in a bit, come and have a chat, or whatever it said, I can't remember. Just, I don't know that I'd do that. Jesus, very little fuel left now, I need to slow down. I've gone from like 14 miles to 4 in the space of me saying that to you. I don't know, what's the point really? The ending's almost comical, in which I mean, I won't spoil it for you. Oh, I will spoil it for you. If you've not seen it, don't listen to this next bit. The ending is she returns to her flat after finding this man's house, having a poke about in it, and finding like loads of really convenient evidence, like we know he's tape recording the phone calls he makes to her, and we know that he's got a telescope. And she goes to his flat, which is a house, it's like in the country or something, and finds like all the manuals to them. Also, wouldn't you have those in your flat with the equipment? Like if I was going to be living in a high-rise with a seemingly complex tape recorder plugged into my phone and stuff, recording the phone calls I make to some poor woman, I'd want the manual with me. It's not as if I can Google it or look up a YouTube tutorial. Like if I get into a strife with my tape recorder, I'm knackered. Anyway, oh Christ, it's down to 0. Oh Jesus. It's down to 0 and there is literally nowhere to stop. Oh, this is worrying. That just seemed a bit weird to me. It's like I know what you're doing. I know it's a TV movie and maybe you haven't got the budget and the resources to, you know, come up with a better ending, but I don't know, it's just weird. I mean, I get it because, you know, all this stuff's in this apartment and I guess you need to be able to link all the stuff in the apartment to the person you've got named as living at this house. Just felt a bit lazy. I mean, the only way it would have been lazier, I suppose, it would have been if in the guy's house there was loads of photos of the woman he'd taken like through a telescopic lens, like stuck to a wall. Or I don't know, like a to-do list, and on the to-do list is like stalk woman. I don't know. The ending. She gets back to her flat after ransacking this guy's house. There's a couple of fairly obvious jump scare moments. There's quite a few actually for a film of this kind. You kind of expect it in horror films, like Friday the 13th, stuff like that. You come to expect. Expect a bit better from John Carpenter. Having said that, think about how many jump scares there are in Halloween. Maybe I don't expect better. Anyway, she gets home and finds like her own suicide note that he's obviously typed out for her. That was quite good. I had to pause that to have a little read. And then she's like, it's kind of goading him to come out because she knows that obviously he's there because he's going to kill her and then make it look like she killed herself. And so he does, and anyway, she kills him. But in a so he kind of puts her through a sort of pane of glass to chuck her off the balcony. There is a balcony actually. It doesn't seem like there's a balcony. When what happens, it seems very much like it's just a window and then a straight drop. She manages to resist falling to her death. I don't know how exactly. She doesn't seem able to overpower him when he grabs her, but does seem able to overpower him when he's trying to push her out of a window. I suppose in that situation, maybe you find some untapped strength you didn't know you had. And then she manages to rip a shard of glass and stab him with it. But, I mean, that would have cut her hand to ribbons if it's as sharp as we're led to believe it was in order for her to stab him. And then he sort of comically falls to his fucking pumps out of action. Comically falls to his death. Which was, yeah, that was something. Anyway, I'll pick this up when I finish paying for my fuel because it's something I thought of for Fright Night that I wanted to add. So bear with. I don't know how you pause this. Right, picking up the story from where I left off. So the ending's just a bit nothingy, really, I suppose. She sort of grabs this shard of glass from the window that broke when he put her through it, and is able to kind of hold it in her hand and stab him with it. Now, I've never done that. I've never had, it's never really come up in my... I guess I live quite a sheltered life, and I've never been in a situation where I've needed to stab somebody in the back with a shard of glass or anything, really. I probably stabbed somebody with the end of a compass when I was at school, but I don't remember doing it, and I don't think it was a fatal blow or anything. I'm just not convinced, and I wasn't convinced in the moment either. It was obvious what was going to happen because we kept getting shots of this shard of glass and of her struggling, and then of the shard of glass and then of her struggling. So it wasn't like it was a surprise what happened. But I'm questioning whether she would have been able to pull that out of the window frame without it hurting and instantly dropping it as a sort of reflexive reaction. Or it cutting her hands because it's sharp and therefore any grip she'd have on it would be instantly lost. Almost to the extent that when she brings it down onto his body, it would just slip out of her hand because she can't get any traction on it because it's covered in her blood. I don't know where in his back she stabbed him that it kind of, I don't know, it just instantly disabled him, and all of a sudden he's no longer a threat. And then he sort of runs out of the window, and it sort of cuts almost to a shot of her, sort of centre of the frame, and then you just sort of see legs. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think actually it was terrible. So yeah, there you go. That's my thoughts on that. It was all right. I don't think it's a film you would ever watch again, which seems to be a recurring theme with the films I'm picking for this. I need to pick one that I like, just so I can say something good. Yeah, I don't know. All right, something that occurred to me while I was talking about Fright Night, because I didn't think of this when I did the review, and I don't know, you can't, once it's done in a review like that. I can't download it. Well, I don't need to download it, I've got it on my computer. I can't edit it and re-upload it. What would be the point? I'd lose any view that it's had. There's a bit where, so the demon-y vampire thing seems to be a bit of both. Kills a few kids from Charlie's school. I know the mum's in hospital, isn't she? But yeah, my recollection when I watched it the other night was that he'd killed the mum, but no. Turns the girlfriend, David Tennant's character, whose name I still don't remember. He's sort of on the turn as well, albeit like really slowly. He's on a sort of gradual, in keeping with what's happening in the scene, turn. Whereas the girlfriend turned almost immediately. Movies, honestly. Yeah, so there's a bit where David Tennant's character, whose name I still don't remember, is talking about this, I think it's a cross or a stake or something he's got, that was kissed by St. Margaret, or signed by St. Peter, or just blessed by St. Michael, or some one of those. And then if you use it, which obviously, because he's shown us this weapon, obviously he's going to be using it. Your classic Chekhov's gun. But he says, like, you know, basically if you use this to kill him, then it'll sort of resurrect anyone that he's killed. I don't like films that do that. I just feel like it takes away all the stakes. Pun intended.
Come back soon for the next episode of John Bolton's podcast. What horror movie will he be reviewing? Who knows? Who cares?
That's actually a really fucking good pun.